winds up his window. Always interested to see what the DSs have got to say, but I think he was in agreement to a degree that there's something brewing behind.
What up, gangsters?
Riders can do in front is just keep it together, keep conserving energy, keep eating.
I was doing some Duolingo.
In the tank. Back to our
Don't mind me, senors.
Thank you, the wonderful man. Col de Neuron is up ahead. Still got a way to go before we actually get there. However, this is our long descent that will take us to a little bit of a bounce. I think we've got a little river bridge in a couple of kilometers time, and then we essentially start climbing in a series of steps that really become magnified when we get to the Col de Neuron. But you can kind of count this KOM as lasting for over 20 kilometers, I think it's fair to say. That is a...
See, these guys got 65 kilometers to go. They could probably do that in an hour. Maybe I'll finish before they finish their ride. I gotta get on.
Which just, yeah, I've got to admit, has cracked me a bit, Sean. So the trap door has just opened behind me.
There he
I'm
goes.
just going to drop on out of it. I'll come back later for the breakaway.
Yeah, let's use it as an allegory for parachuting, shall we? He'll be taking over the wires and steering himself back after a brief flight into our consciousness again. Robbie will be back. Of course, we're now joined by Adam Blythe. Adam, a little bit of a downhill run here, just to put some power back in the legs potentially, but as we just heard from Tom Southam there from EF Education, as Matt was interviewing him, there seems not a forlorn hope, but there is an acceptance that it's down to what UAE do today. Sounds familiar, doesn't it?
I'd say it's down to what Tadej Pogačar wants. And I think from quite early on we saw that they wanted to control this race. You know, we saw them trying to make sure the right breakaway went away. They've kept it on a very, very tight leash as well. They've not let it get more than 2.5 minutes throughout the day. And Richard Carapaz, you know, I think he's been out the front for so long with just one other rider at the time, and I can imagine what that's taken out of him, because the fight to not only get in the breakaway but then drive it away has been a big one. Also Ben Healy in there, we saw how many times he was trying at the start of the stage today, just countless amount of attacks that he did. So yeah, it is going to be very, very difficult for them on a day like today. We saw how big the fight was for the breakaway, but yeah, I think with UAE the riding at the minute, for me it's only going to go one way unless there are some superhumans within this group.
You know, Adam, when Tadej Pogačar wants to put his stamp of authority on a race, it came very early in the Giro, didn't it? And you could say pretty early in this one as well, on stage 4, of course, which is when he went into yellow. Well, he'd been in yellow prior, of course, but for goodness sake, winning a stage, making sure that everybody was constantly talking about him. I don't think that's the aim, but you've got to take your chances where you get them, and today's a big chance for him to make yet another statement in this phenomenal battle we've got here. Jonas Vingegaard himself, Adam, as the interview, I don't know if you caught it while you were just taking a break, stayed very, very cool when we're trying to sort of gee him on as to, you know, the nerves he might be feeling.
Yeah, the wind is howling out there.
Admitted to a few, but stays very polite, whereas Tadej Pogačar,
It is
I'm not saying he's a
cold.
rude man, but his legs go rude on moments like this, and today could be one of those days, couldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, today without any attacks, if this breakaway comes back, which it looks like it's going to do, we've got bonus points and the sprint at the finish, so there's 18 seconds in total up for grabs, you know. So I think for the likes of Tadej Pogačar, we know how quick his acceleration is. We know that he doesn't necessarily have to go on the attack. He can, you know, gamble on those sprints. He's going to hopefully get both of them for him, and to take whatever it is, if Remco's second, he's obviously going to take some seconds still with not too much effort. But I just think the way that the team's riding, there's more than that, you know. There's bonus seconds and an attack that he's going to go for today. I can't imagine that UAE would have ridden how they have done for just a handful of seconds at the end of today's stage. So I feel like something is a brewing for him. And for Jonas Vingegaard, you know, he knows that. He knows Tadej Pogačar very well. He knows his strengths, he knows his weaknesses, and he'll do everything he can to follow to minimise any time gaps if there are any, and minimise the chances he's got him in the sprints by trying to finish as high up there as possible to get some bonus seconds himself. But yeah, the legs will do the talking at the end of the day. But Tadej Pogačar looks like he is he's made himself quite clear to him and his team and to everyone watching, for me anyway, personally, what he wants to do today.
Sean, you've got to take whatever chance you can in a race like this. There's a sense, or there's a theory that you should be mitigating your drive, but he seems to be very happy to take every opportunity he can to put his stamp on a race, even if it requires quite a bit of effort from both himself and his team, and today seems to be one of those.
Well, he needs to do that in this race because of his main rival, Jonas Vingegaard, coming back after the injury. And I think I've said it many times, and I'll say it once again, they feel that, you know, this is the time in the earlier part of the race. Don't allow him an easy 10 days or maybe 2 weeks. When I say easy for these big guys, you know, if you don't put the pressure on, as UAE have been doing other days in this race already, and they're doing it again today. And yeah, that is the strategy, the tactic of the team, and they're going about it very well. You could see that there was a possibility of that in the earlier part of the stage. But when you do that as well, you don't make friends, because the riders out in front, they're going to say, well, UAE riding again? They're getting a bit greedy here, and the answer to that is, well, they could sit back and wait for the final and then just race between the GC men.
UAE and the familiar figure of Niels Pollitt with his tongue hanging out, like a spaniel out of a window on a motorway. He's happy in the role, Sean.
Yes, well, he is very happy doing this, and this terrain now, as you said, Carlton, up to the Col de Neron, it's a long road up, and the earlier part is not steep, and this is where Pollitt and Wellens, the riders who are not the better climbers within that team, and then there's other riders that come to the fore here, and this is going to be another exhibition of the team. And I was reading there, Bernal was doing an interview, I think it was one of the Spanish radios of the Spanish press, and he was saying there's no respect anymore in the peloton, and even when Tadej stops for a pee, which he did on the gravel stage, the riders started attacking. Well, I think that stage everybody was going to attack. Even the break was gone, it slowed down a bit. There were still riders wanted to get ahead before they got onto the gravel, and yeah, maybe they feel well, the way they're riding here, why should we have respect for him? And that could be a case as well. We see in the Giro as well the way they were dominating and maybe taking too much of the race, and that discussion from a long time ago, that goes on within the teams and within the riders of different teams. So yeah, what they're doing today, I understand they've got to do it. This is the tactic, and this is the way he's going to try and win his Tour of France, and he has all the right to do that.
Every right to do it. It's a dominant display, I think it's fair to say. Adam, some teams would kind of mitigate their efforts day by day. It seems like every chance he has, he wants to show his superiority, and today's one of those days.
It's one of those days, and if we look, they had the gravel stage, a rest day. We heard Geraint Thomas say on his podcast that yesterday was one of the easiest Tour de France stages he's ever done. So then we're on to this day, which is a brutally hard day, brutally hard start to the stage as well.
We'll see how
good
today goes.
We've got sprint stages. So you've got one hard day in between 4 days of racing. Well, 2 days on each side. So, if he goes full gas today, if he tries to open that time gap, he's got a couple of easy days after it. So you have to look when to take your chances, and Tadej Pogačar and his UAE teammates obviously believe that we need to make the most of this, try and gain some time if we can, because the next couple of days should be relatively straightforward, where we don't have too much responsibility. The sprint teams will be able to take it up. So let's, benefit from this opportunity, or try and make an opportunity for him. So yeah, I think if you look on paper, where you would say, right, where's the best place to take time? Where is the best place to use that energy? Today would have been 100% one of them, with the days they've had either side of it.
And when you have a team of UAE, Emirates, like when you look at the super team they've got, the names they've got there, you can understand how they can take control of the race, day after day, and in the earlier part of the race there's no concern at all, because the talent you've got, you probably have got a 20 million euro team here.
Sean Kelly talking lottery numbers really as to what UAE team Emirates have had indeed within their locker, and look at it, they are just our guides today, and I guess we have to measure every single day as to what they bring to the table. Sean, I wasn't expecting this to happen today. Everyone, including myself, thought this would be a break, and that explained the enthusiasm.
Oh yeah, that's right. This was skipping yesterday,
so
huh?
many teams, and that enthusiasm is being burnt down at the moment by UAE. Not only are they sticking it to the other GC men, presumably later on today, let's wait and see, but they've broken the hearts of many a team that thought today's the day that we can get something.
Yes, well, it was a pretty clear one. The moment the break got away, when things settled down, and the teams that wanted to get into the breakaway, they had done what they were able to do, and if they hadn't made the breakaway, there was kind of, okay, we're not going to be able to make the break today. And then we had this two groups formed together out front, and immediately we could see UAE, and then we were saying, okay, this looks like they're going to control here. Did not allow it to go to that 4 or 5 minutes, which normally when there's that big fight goes on, and then the break managed to snap the elastic, and then it all slows down. Everybody just stops for a natural break, and it goes to 4 or 5 minutes very, very quickly. It wasn't the case at all today. So from that point, yeah, I think they were saying, the guys in the breakaway, the directors 40s were saying, oh, this is not going to be a good one, because UAE are going to take control here and keep the advantage at a minimum. And as we can see now, it's still at the 2 minutes. And yeah, this is going to be a final that is going to be a big fight for the breakaway guys. And we did hear from the director of the team of EF Education, Easy Post, Tom, there. He was saying, okay, keep on riding, try and conserve energy, get as far as we can into the final, and then really push on. And that's what they're going to try and do, the riders here, and especially the teams that have 2 riders up there in the front. But everybody, you know, that interest, keep on riding and see what they will have at a certain point, and see will there be any chance of going with a big strong ride from the better riders in the breakaway to go for the stage win.
Just the back of the peloton here. Lutsenko's struggling just a little bit. I don't know whether he's had a technical. Kiss Ball, the fact that he's back there, just helping him get back in, possibly underscores what we've just said. A lot of people, myself included, expecting at least one of these days to be a Lutsenko day. And a very, very good run as part of the breakaway that Turgis thrived in. Lent on just a little bit towards the end, Lutsenko. I thought he might have a shout today. Wasn't a pick, but you kind of look through the teams and you think, who's the most obvious candidate? Richard Carapaz allowed himself a look back, and the breakaway going to be looking back. It sweated out the gap once again, possibly because the unique feed that's been taken on by UE Team Emirates. They took some snap, everyone else, they sort of eased off. Nobody else wanted to take up the chase, and so the gap's gone back out to 2 minutes, but I don't think it's going to hang there, Adam.
I don't think so, no. I think they're going uphill now, aren't they? They've got similar gradients like this for quite a while before it really ramps up towards the top of this climb, and that's when it'll start to get difficult. I can imagine then it is around 46k to go. That's when the classified part of the climb starts, and just over 3 kilometers at 9% average gradient. So it's the starter really, but unclassified, this part. If you take it all in from where it started until they get to the bottom of that, they've got a lot of climbing in front of them, but relatively fast climbing. They're all in the big ring.
Looks beautiful round here, must admit. Almost looks familiar. Thought that was Stanley Edge a moment ago there, Adam.
Similar, Carlton, similar.
Good on you. Yeah, run down to Bakewell.
It's a beautiful one.
56.4 kilometers to go. It's now, let's just watch that gap, and this is what lays ahead of us, Sean. If you want a shark suit profile and have everything just compressed in terms of difficulty at the end of the day, this is where the showtime begins, isn't it?
Yes, well, this is where the breakaway have to continue working here and see what the advantage will be when they get to the top of this climb, and maybe more so, you know, the Primari Pas de Perol. At that point, when you get to that climb over with, then see what sort of an advantage, if they have any advantage at all, and that's what we're seeing here. Just keep on working at it, and it all depend now what they do back UAE, the peloton, when they want to really push up the pace, and you know, will they give any chance at all to these guys in this breakaway? Look at that breakaway as well. The man from Total Energies, Matteo Verscher, he's been in that breakaway, the same as Carapaz. We see him, he went out with Carapaz, and he is doing a real strong ride. It'll be interesting to see as we get into the climbs now how he will fare out, but you know, he's in big company here and doing a very strong ride today. And you know, Total Energies, we see they got their stage win. We did say when they get a stage win, we seem to see more of the teams. That is certainly the case today, because they were very active trying to get into that breakaway with the stage win they've already got in the team.
Beautiful little ammo there, John, with its mullion stone windows.
Yeah, we're just sort of meandering our way down towards Le Valmier. What I want to say, what we haven't seen so far, but this part of the world is famed for the Salaire vache, or cows. Very old breed from the Massif Central. They were originally just used for cheese production. Today, most of them are used for suckling and just partial milking. So they have made up the majority of the cows that you'll see in this region, still producing Comtal cheese, etc. But they've also been crossbred with the Charolais, and you can now find them. I think I didn't realise this until I was looking through my notes. They're present in 85 departments of France, 25 different countries, and they're present on 5 continents. Less popular, I think, in Antarctica. But they are definitely a well-travelled
Frozen
cow.
burgers, obviously. Oh dear.
John, a question for you. What does suckling mean?
Suckling,
Yes.
doesn't that mean just for breeding and then bringing up the
I think
young calves?
it's for rearing the
Rearing them,
bringing on
yeah.
the young
Oh,
calves.
yes, I
Yeah,
understand.
exactly. Come on, Sean, you're a farmer.
Sean knew. He was just checking I did.
Ah well. There's Dee Dee. Took sponsorship a few years ago and then disappeared from our screens. I don't know whether for that very reason. And nice to see him back.
Yes, I think a couple of hip replacements and he's back in dancing, looking good.
Yeah, yes, rock and roll. You know he's actually famed. I think he's in the Guinness Book of Records for having built the biggest rideable bicycle. Do you know that, Adam?
Carlton, I had no idea about it. And how big is it?
I've got a feeling he sits astride it about 20 feet off the ground.
Wow.
It's I'll
Big
try and find a
garage.
picture.
Is that how he broke his first hip, falling off?
quite, well, I think it was all the bouncing around, to be honest.
Well, it's 20 foot off the ground when it's on the trailer, Carlton. But when it's actually on the ground on his wheels, I think it's about 6
I am
foot.
going to find a picture of it. Sam Bennett didn't provide us with the glory picture that we were hoping for yesterday. It's been a bit quiet, Sean.
Yes, being a bit quiet, but he's in big company here, and yeah, this was an interesting one for a lot of riders. But yeah, when you see the sprints we've had in this tour, like they have been really hectic, and the fight out, you know, in the final, the speed has been on, and the pushing and the fighting positions, not an easy one, and unless you're at your best, very difficult to get on the podium here in this in the stage we've had in this tour.
Podium's hard to come by for some teams. We've had 9 separate teams. I think Intermarché Monti obviously with 2, with Binim Gamay. Nobody else has doubled up yet, but Tadej Pogačar will be out to change that today. And with a very modest minute and 54, with still 53.6 kilometers to go, it kind of looks like the breakaway is going to have its dreams dashed, Adam. I kind of feel sorry for them in a way.
Yeah, I mean, it's bike racing. It's part and parcel of it, isn't it? It's always, we never always see the breakaway succeed. But I think on a day like today, you know, you've got your obvious clear plan and you need to stick to it, and a numerous amount of teams have. I think it's just being able to judge it and being able to say, look, let's just move on from today. It's not going to happen with the UAE riding the way they are. But at the same time, I'm happy they don't think like that, because you never know what might happen. You never know how someone's feeling. You've got to give it a go, because that one day that you don't know might be the day that you get a great success from it. So it's always a hard one. I mean, if you read the race completely tactically and completely read into anything, our racing would become very, very different to what we see. Because if we look at it now and think, okay, UAE's riding, there's no chance they're going to let it go to the finish, and we had no breakaway, it would be extremely boring. So I'm happy that some riders are still giving it a go, and you do never know, you know. Carapaz is an extremely strong rider, as is Ben Healy, his teammate in there. You've got Lascano, who's just been getting him better every year. Paul Lapierre, Amarai, Bernard, all of them are capable of winning a stage. It's just what these guys are going to do. As we see all the yellow helmets, I'm quite happy they've got the yellow helmets on. They are very easy to spot in the peloton with them.
They are, and there is Tadej Pogačar himself. He's been in this, well, field marshal role for much of the day. there hasn't been much time, to be honest, Adam, where he's not been towards the front of the peloton dictating things.
Is that Tadej Pogacar?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's no need for him to do it. I mean, if you look at UAE, how they controlled the start of the stage, Tim Wellens, the man second wheel on the front of the peloton at the minute. Then you've got Pavel Sivakov, who did a few bits and bobs, and then Niels Pollitt as well. The rest of the guys, we didn't see them for 50, 60k. They were just sat right back in the peloton alongside Tadej Pogacar, and that's the guys that were sat back. They're his climbing riders, you know. They're the ones, his domestiques in the mountains, can really set that high tempo. So they were saving themselves at the same time. So, as I said earlier, a couple of rest days after this. So for the likes of Tim Wellens and Pollitt, the job that they did, and Soler, not Sivakov, was huge, and it's probably the biggest, the most instrumental part to this day so far for Team UAE, and could be at the finish, because if they didn't have those guys there, we might have seen a completely different breakaway, which UAE might not have been able to control.
Coming into Le Vaulmier, some of you taking a break? Something that was mentioned by the Lantern Rouge Cycling Podcast boys was that Benjamin Gamay, the way he's now winning sprints, Sean, he's doing it. It was a very good point they made. Doing it in open sprinting combat, we kind of got used to having Biniam Gamay style stages, which are kind of be a little bit lumpy towards the end. And now he's doing it in mass sprint scenarios as well. He's really grown, hasn't he? I know he's struggling off the back of the peloton today, and it's likely to get a bit more difficult for him later on. But how impressive has he been?
Well, he's having an excellent race, and you know, when he got his first stage, of course, I think, you know, that gave him the confidence as well, because this year we see in the Giro, very unlucky in the LA part, crashed out and had to abandon and had to refocus, and you know, got it perfectly right for this tour. And yeah, we see him yesterday in that sprint where it's not his sort of sprint, finishing second to Philipsen, but he has to do that now. And we could see in the final yesterday, he was following Philipsen in that final 15 kilometers. And when you're in the green jersey, you know, you kind of, you know, for the men that are the danger ones that you have to be close to and try and beat him. And if you cannot beat him, you have to be very close to him. And that's going to be Beanie's tactic in the days to come now. Try and, you know, just limit the losses against Philipsen, who he has a good advantage in the green jersey classification.
Many people want to be caught today because it was super hard, and I'm sure you can do well. We don't give up easily. We want to fight like a lion. Come on.
Gosh, being asked to fight like lions is one thing. Being actually delivering is another. Well, a man who's going to maul down the rest of these 50 kilometers has just rejoined us. Rob, drama, it kind of feels like a coiled spring for everybody at the moment, and the encouragement is already being washed down from the DSs. They're trying their best to get everyone lifted up for the next 50Ks.
Thanks, Colton. Yes, the stage is set, isn't it? Breakaway, favourites, or both? Where this lot are riding, it's certainly looking like favourites. Just inside the final 50 kilometres. On paper, it was meant to be a breakaway bonanza today. We will see. It's not been given more than 2 minutes. You guys have just been talking about that. But coming up, a succession of hills as we get to the business end. It was up and down all day, but this is the proper hill zone. It could be a hell zone for riders who don't have the legs today. Niels Pollitt at the front, keeping it very, very close. Both he and Tim Wellens have been doing a perfect job. Welcome back, everybody, into the final 50Ks now. Look at that, the hills are rising, the valley's closing in. The hills are here. Le Lion, the destination. 2 previous stage finishes and twice it's been Belgian. Michel Pollentier in the mid-70s. And Greg van Avermaet the last time we were there in 2016, taking the jersey, the yellow jersey off of Peter Sagan on that day, the start of a golden period for Golden Greg. This is the start of the approach to the first of our series of classified climbs, the second category, Col de Neron. Adam Blythe and Sean Kelly with me, Rob Hatch. John Harris passes here as well alongside us, and we're looking, Adam, at these teams now, making sure they're at the front with the leaders. You've got all the big 4 teams making sure they're near the front.
Yeah, we do indeed. We've got on the left-hand side Bora, in the middle Quick Step there, and on the right-hand side of our screen we've got UAE, and just behind them and just slightly placed a little bit further back, just alongside the Ineos Grenadiers, is Team Wiesma Lisa bike. Quite a long way back for Wiesma Lisa bike, to be honest, for those guys. It's not too much of an issue because they'll be able to move up, but there you can just see Wout van Aert on the bottom left-hand side of your screen, Jan Tratnik behind him, and then just behind him we have Jonas Vingegaard, their team leader. So yeah, the big 3 teams, 4 teams, are moving their way up there, 3 of them already up there, but it was a difficult one today, wasn't it? We spoke about this on the breakaway this morning. How's this going to go? What day is it going to be like? Is it going to be a GC day or not? I think from very early on, intentions were made clear.
We're just getting rumours of maybe a puncture for UAE, but not on the bike, perhaps in the team car. There's a few... rumours flying around. We're going to try and see if Matt Stevens can confirm. That for us. But on the bike, it's now Marc Soler who's taken it up. The pace has been increased. And Sean, this is a drag race at 48.5 k's to go.
It is, and we can see the teams, just wanting to have that good position and the pace just slowly going up here. And yeah, this is going to be a real difficult one and a difficult final for a lot of riders. We can see riders losing contact, but a lot of those riders, we talked about Guilherme there, and a lot of the sprinters, they know now that they're in the safe zone and they're thinking about tomorrow and the days where they can go for the glory. But here it's all about the GC guys, and you can see the way they're pushing on. It's been interesting to see. We did see Bahrain victorious. Bilbao was in difficulty early in the day. He was not comfortable, and that will be the interesting one. The guys there in that top 15 places in the general classification, they have to fight to stay in there, and some of the teams, they need them in there because they are their best man in the GC.
Well, that UAE car looks all right. Plenty of rumours, as we said, flying around. If there is any issue, it's certainly not right to the front of the bunch there. Tim Wellens has gone backwards. A lot of riders joining him here. In pace really being noted. Yves Lompard going backwards as well. At the front is Gianni Moscon, who's keeping Remco Evenepoel and his mates ready. Left hand side, Mateo Sobrero does the job for Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe. Primož Roglic already sitting third wheel. On the left, as we look at it, Jonas Abramson is there or thereabouts. And on the right, look at Soler. Look at the effort he's having to put in there just to maintain the position.
So look at Ben Turner as well coming through the middle. It is so difficult. Jonas Vingegaard coming up, he's lost one out Van Aert by the looks of things, but positioning looks to be very important leading into that. And now, a narrow road coming up, so needing to be at the front is essential for it. But Soler there just with a shake of the head a minute ago as well, so maybe Sivakov just saying to him, do you need help just yet? Do you need help just yet? But he will try and bring them right to the foot of the climb and save his teammates, the likes of Sivakov behind for later on, a little bit later, so he can set a tempo on a climb.
Goodbye to Huri Kosta, same to Magnus Kort, also Kevin Vukula. Off they go. In the meantime, there's a man less now for Primož Roglic because Marco Haller has gone backwards. All understandable and predictable. given what's on the road today. This is Nikias Ant for Bahrain. And now at the front, Michal Kwiatkowski appears as Soler begins to tire. That's that for him.
That's that for him, and it's messy at the minute, isn't it? Kwiato on the front there on the right-hand side in the red helmet. He's got Rodriguez tucked right on the wheel. Bernal just behind him as well. It is hotting up into this climb. I mean, we've still got 46 k's to go, but the way these guys are riding, Traknik now on the right-hand side. Van Aert's still there, apologies, moving up in front of Traknik, or trying to.
Louis Vervaeke through the centre, and Sean can't quite believe what he's seeing. He's laughing watching this.
Well, I'm laughing at Abrahamsen there. He was on the front there, you know, pulling it on, and I had to look at Uno X Mobility to see in the GC standings who was up there, but there is nobody, and we could see a teammate with him there, but yeah, it's an interesting one. That guy, the power he has got and the riding he has done with his nose in the wind in this race is amazing, and you know, he's in excellent form, but we can see the fight on the front of the peloton, and the gap 104 at the moment is just melted down so quickly, and not surprising because, as you mentioned, Rob, Soler there, you could see the effort he was making just to hold that front end of the peloton against the other teams, and it's a big drag race between the big teams now.
The next climb is the Col de Néron. The graphic on the right hand side shows what we've got to come, and this is the start of a massive moment in this race. 46 kilometers to go, just under 4 k's to go to the top of this climb. It gets very steep, and look at the roads, they're so narrow. It's the rugged terrain of the Cantal that's proving the stage today. There's a crash behind, a big crash behind Visma Leaseway.
Van Aert, I think by the looks of thinking, Traknik's still on the front there, but
drinks helmet on, didn't he? Yep, there he's, oh dearie me.
Oh, he saved that well, that could have been a lot worse.
And just behind him, Jorgensen there almost going down. There's a rider from Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe, I think is Jungels, left-hand side, who almost went down with him.
I mean, as far as crashes go, that could have been a heck of a lot worse. Wout van Aert, we know, one of the best bike handlers in the world, but being able to hop up a curb whilst leant over at around 30 degrees, just adjusting himself so the back wheel hit the barrier, straight back up. But, I mean, I'm glad he's all right, but if we see a replay of that, when you think about everything he's just had to do in the space of a second, it's unbelievable how that could have been so much worse for him.
Well, team car has moved on there.
Yes,
Sean?
you see, yeah, team car 1 moved on. I think he told him, yeah, it's okay there. Of course, there's the other team car further back, and we can see it again here, just up the curb there, 5 or 6 inches curb, just hopped it up, but yeah, no way he was able to control it, but still did a fabulous, a fabulous job, and not really going straight on. He could have done a lot more damage.
With the gap more than half now, the break is breaking up, and Lascano attacks, followed by Healy here. Guillaume Martin, I was just looking at his results. He still never ever won a World Tour race as Martin. He's up there. I don't think today's going to be the day, as Vertier goes backwards. Almiray is joining him, and a lot of these guys will be thinking, why on earth did I bother today?
Were you trying to say today's gonna be the day?
It's easy to say that now.
It certainly is. Of course, on paper, this was the big day that was going to be a breakaway. I mean, we spoke to some sports directors even telling us, no, this is the day they're going to give the jersey away, da-da-da. Now, the race has been so aggressive, and that really wouldn't have been possible today. But Lascano and Healy will continue to ride on. That's what they do. The only question here is when they're going to be caught, surely.
Yes, well, it is going to be a matter of time here. We can see there, under a minute now, and the guys here out in front, the effort they have made, trying to get into the breakaway, then in the breakaway, contributing all day, and this is a long stage as well, so all of that will start to hit here. And 45 kilometers to go with the terrain. Like, if we had just one climb here, 2.6 kilometers to the top, and then it was relatively flat to the finish, you'd say they might have a chance if they can get a number of riders together, but no way over this sort of terrain.
Are you so missing there again, Rob? from the front of UAE by the looks of things. We know that he's been sitting a bit further back, and there's been talks about him, what's he doing, what's he playing up, but it just looks like his riding style, he likes to sit just that little bit further back at the minute. Sivakov on the front, Almeida, Adam Yates and Tadej Pogačar, but no Ayuso to be seen.
Almeida slipping into the domestique role absolutely beautifully. Not the same for Ayuso. We've seen a lot of infighting. In the press so far as well. Here's Gaudu, and it's goodbye.
Such a difficult one for the breakaway today as well, you know, even when they got that gap quite late on in the stage where it eventually did get the official gap where it was fully let go, but at that time as well you can imagine how UAE have been riding, the chats from within in the team car. We've committed so much, we still want to give it a go, but it's such a difficult thing to say, right, stop riding, let's try and reset it again, when you two, especially for EF, were the two best riders they wanted to be up the road today. Just UAE just completely ruining it, not just for them, but everyone within that break.
We're halfway up the first of our series of leg-breaking climbs towards the end today. Never really any flat at the start, but it's this succession of relatively short but very steep climbs that's making the difference. Already in double digits here. And the yellow jersey, Tadej Pogačar, who laid his plans out, let's be honest, in the mix zone this morning. He was hinting, even saying that he wanted to do something today. His team has showed that that's been the case all day long. The other teams have had to do what they can. We've seen Kwiatkowski on duty to try and get mates up the road. We're now seeing Kwiatkowski having position and his leaders going backwards. This is Romain Bardet. He's going to get a chance to smile and enjoy, maybe alongside Geraint Thomas there, his final ever Tour de France ride up and through his own fans. That's coming up on the next climb, by the way, the Virage Bardet, the Bardet curve. This is the Col de Néron, but Sean Kelly, next up is Puy-Marie, Pas de Pérol. And well, if you think about last time, 2020, it was electric, the pace up there. A Strava KOM was set, 13 minutes 48 by Tadej Pogačar. That on his way. To the first of two successive Tour de France wins. They went stage-winning moves that day, but both he and Roglic had their first rodeo together. I think Pogačar is starting to get fond memories of that climb because it's next up.
Yes, and I think Rog will be hoping that he is in the shape he was back in that stage, because you know this is going to be a real fight here between the GC men, and it's going to be an interesting one. You know, the top of the GC rankings, who is going to take time? Will anybody take time? Will they be able to do it? But this terrain, it is very possible we could see that, and yeah, it's going to be a hectic 40+ kilometers here as we go into this final very difficult stage already.
Grégoire is caught, Armirail is retaken, and their compatriot Sivakov working hard. This is Pauls, that's Youngles, alongside them Castroviejo, and they've been dropped.
I think dropped as well, but realising, you know, there's no point in going full gas to the finish today. There's bigger days to come where they can save that energy. You have to remember that with a lot of the riders that have gone out the back as well, you know, just save it. You've got plenty more days in the Tour de France. It's been probably the hardest start to this year's Tour de France. Save your energy because there's more days to come, and if UAE carry on riding like they are, they need that energy.
Sean, talking of Rog there, I think he's all alone, isn't he?
Yes, it looks like that, and just looking back there to see the other guys, as we can see, you know, a lot of riders. Jack Haig, you know, a really good climber and still not able to follow this pace so far out from the finish, and that tells the difficult day it's been, and you know, this pace being set by UAE. It will be an interesting one when we pan back here, trying to look for Ayuso. He's further back, but we can see Butrago there from, I was looking for Bilbao. He's the one I was interested in to see how he will fare out, because he's another one in the GC standings. He's what, in about 15th place, and when you look at the riders ahead of him, you know, the team will be expecting him to be, you know, a man who will keep up there in the GC and keep the car in the cavalcade as well, which is important as we go into, you know, the mountain stages later, all of that. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one here.
So that is Healy. He's following Lascano behind his Carapaz. I was just having a look at that group, Adam. Roglic has one rider left, but he's sat much further down in the group. The windows are open. It's the former Giro winner Jai Hindley who's still in the group, but not alongside Roglic.
No, not alongside him for now, but he's there. If there's a problem, he can help or support him, and I don't think Roglic, you know, at this point in time is going to really hit out. Let's remember those bonus points on the penultimate. Climb today. They will be huge. They'll be massive, especially for the likes of Tadej Pogačar, and I think he'll try and, for me, he'll go on the bottom of that climb or the next climb to try and not just extend his lead by bonus points, but also extend. In terms of a time gap as well.
Just to situate everybody here, as Vingegaard even follows Pogačar to the left-hand side when he was going for some food then. It's the Puy-Marie-Pat-Peyron next, which is the climb we were talking about, the Pog and Rog show from 2020. After that, it's the Col de Pertus, where we've got the 8, 5 and 2 bonus seconds. There's another third category climb following that one, and then a short descent and a final 600 meters up to the line. It's 6 and 7% at Le Luron, where there are 10, 6 and 4 for first, second and third on the stage. Now then, on the radio here is Pavel Sivakov.
Yeah, I think Tadej just dropped back. He took that bottle and just dropped back to 3, 4, 5 places. So Tadej, as we heard the other day, just back off a little bit when he stopped for a wee so he could get back on easier. He might have just simply asked it, just knock it off a bit so I can move back into my position and then carry on. Who knows?
Healy and Lascano are back together. They've extended their lead on the peloton, which would certainly play into to your hypothesis that they might have just lifted up the foot a little bit. It's 110. Carapaz is... at 18 seconds, 100 meters behind. Regardless of whether they stay away or not, it's not looking likely, Sean. We've been saying it for some time. There are still some mightily strong rides in this break today.
No, I don't think it's going to happen for these guys, and you know, they are putting up a big fight here. Continuing on here, but again, when you see just over the minute here, and when you see the team of UAE, the way they're, you know, they're just having a chat with each other here, and he certainly just knocked off a little bit. Interesting there from UAE also, I see Ayuso, he's very much on the rear of this group, and we can see, you know, some of the other GC men, but it's not a problem here for the moment to stay, because you can see that group of favourites of the yellow jersey. It's a tiny group already, so you can sit back a little bit further. That will be an interesting one to see, you know, what they will do as they get further into this stage. And the interesting one is the teams. Who's going to have more there? We see Visma, they still have quite a number of riders there with Bing and Go. But when you look at UAE for the final, you would expect there to be the stronger team. But they are also doing a big amount of grafting here to work on the front.
Points to Ben Healy in the King of the Mountains competition. 3 go to Oyer. Lascano and Richard Carapaz is trying to fight out for what remains. That will be 2 points here. 22 seconds back. He's just under a minute in front of the yellow jersey group.
No surprise the work he had to do early on with just 2 rides. Just for about 10-15k, and that was after multiple attacks in the start when the race was at its fastest point. So yeah, it's no wonder the defending Olympic champion has started to feel it a little bit.
Reminder, he's not going to be allowed to defend his title, not selected for Ecuador for the single place. That this year, I should say, has gone to Jonathan Narvaez. This is Bernard. He's with Oscar Onley. If you like the roads around here, by the way, we talked about Romain Bardet being a local. A 33-year-old on his home roads today from Brioude, just down the road. He's actually designed 4 cyclo-tourist routes, and available at all the local tourist offices. It's the RBX, the Romain Bardet experience. Apparently, and 4 different routes have been designed around here by him. There's UAE Emirates and another Frenchman, Pavel Sivakov, come over the climb. And that's all that's left of the yellow jersey group. 1:22 the gap.
Not really a descent they've got coming up here as well, Rob. They've just got a tiny, I say tiny, they've got a plateau for, what is it, about 9 kilometres, if that, before they start to climb again. The first part, they dropped down, they got the plateau, then they dropped down, it's 5 kilometres, sorry, almost 6. And then the next part of the climb before it really kicks up before the top part, they've got 3 Ks at around 5%. And then the last couple of kilometres up around that 11% mark, so super difficult. Maximum gradients of 14% towards the top. Is that Jai Hindley back there now?
No, it's
No,
Sobrero.
Sobrero. Apologies.
Hindley's still just about in the front group, but there's Romain Bardet with Geraint Thomas, and if the Pools panel might have been forecasting home win today, I'm afraid that's not the case. It is going to those at the top of the table. "40 kilometres remain. Only a short descent this before we get to the first slopes of the Puy-Marie Pas de Pérols, and it's a climb that gradually ramps up.
These
and
shorts suck.
continues to do so. The most intriguing part of this climb coming up are the last 3 Ks. Adam, before you go, is this where we're going to see the big action?
I don't know. Hopefully.
So we're on our way down the hill, led by Pavel Sivakov, 1:17 the gap. 3 classified climbs to go before the little rise to the line.
I've not gone just yet. Just a quick note, Ayuso's just moved up. So he's back there. Tadej Pogacar further back, as you can see in his bright yellow. But there's 4 riders now, and Ayuso's the last rider in the front there.
This is the Puy-Marie. The climb itself, 5.4 kilometers long, an average gradient of 8.1%. However, critically, it's the descent down into the ascent of this climb that is really crucial. It's fast, it's twisty, you've got a few stone bridges to contend with, and it's only here towards the top kilometer where it is so steep, around 14 kilometers, but this is Virage Romain Bardet. This is Romain Bardet Corner, which has been organised by his fan club here in his final Tour de France. It only seems right that this French legend, who's had such success in the Tour, goes out with this support. It is quite simply incredible. It feels amazing. The atmosphere is so fun, and everyone is clearly enjoying themselves. And Romain Bardet, I really hope you have some time to enjoy this that your fan club have arranged for you, because it's incredible.
What an act. Atmosphere. Thanks, Hannah. Yes, we've already seen that he will have time to end. Balde is on his way. They can watch the race. And they'll be able to say bye, Balde, in style afterwards. These two are still racing though. Healy, the Irish star, with the pink jersey on here. Lascano in the blue, and the Basque country from its capital, actually, from Vitoria. Spanish champion last year, chased by the man from the mountains in Ecuador, Richard Carapaz. 20 seconds. 1:10 back to the peloton. And Hannah there at Virage Balde has seen quite the atmosphere. Look how narrow these roads are though. Positioning vital, not just to go up the hill, importantly to come down the hill. Being led again by Sivakov. He's doing a very good job at this tour. Sean mentioned him, Ayuso. He's now slotted into second position there. This is Sobrero with Balde and with Thomason. I'm sure we'll be keeping a camera on Balde for when he gets near the top to the Puy-Marie. Climbing the famous Massif Central ascent for the 12th time in Tour history in a moment. It's all about those last few Ks, Sean, isn't it? You got the third from last kilometre at 5.5%. Then it goes up to 9.2 for the penultimate kilometre. The last kilometre is at 14%. It gets gradually worse. The pace will be gradually increased. If you're not on a day-to-day, you can lose serious time.
Yes, and also the distance from the finish, it's what, 30 kilometers approximately from the finish. So if you lose a bit of ground at all, you have that descent, and then you have another climb to get up, and then to the finish downhill, and you know, there's a lot of difficult terrain even after that. So if you go into the red zone, well, then you lose contact with the main group of big favourites. To get back in there is always going to be difficult. You haven't that big long descent, you know, maybe 15 kilometers where you can take a bit of risk and try and get back, and then if you have a bit of flat in the valley to go to a finish, a total different scenario. But this one, you know, it's just a real difficult one all the way, and if there is your riders who are not feeling at their best, well, you could lose quite a lot of minutes.
It is Carapaz, made his way back almost to the front here. Sort of beautiful old volcanic landscapes there. It's a very different looking part of France. End of the descent here. You can just see the banner up ahead where the climb itself begins.
Yes, and Carapaz is still continuing to fight here, although, you know, it is going to be a real difficult one. But remember the Vuelta, when he was out in a breakaway, he got caught by the GC contenders almost. He could touch him out in front, and then he rode on, and he got to the stage end and won the stage, actually. So he's probably thinking something the same. You never give up until, you know, it's totally over. And, you know, we can see here, you know, he is fighting big time to get back there and see what will happen. But when you look at the organisation of the UAE team here, this is going to be, I think, you know, as we've said for so long during this stage, not going to be possible for these guys to hold on unless for some reason, you know, if there's a mechanical problem, they have to slow down, they could pull the advantage out a bit more, but otherwise I can't see it happening for them today.
Onto the Puy-Marie, Pas de Pérols. 13 minutes, 48 seconds, the fastest ever time set by the man in yellow there, Tadej Pogačar, when he went away with Roglic. Breakaway was up the road when they were there in that autumn 2020 tour. The light was different, everything was different that year, wasn't it? But this, though, is looking very much like the other day. And look at Vingegaard here. He's moving up alongside Tadej Pogačar to be ready just in case.
Yes, and we see a number of kilometres, quite a few number of kilometres back. We could see Primoz Pogačar looked around and he could see the man who was just shadowing him all the time. Vingegaard was there, and I just wondered what he was saying to himself. Anytime he looks round, he's in his shadow, and we can see again he is, you know, getting on the wheel here, and that's what you've got to do, because when Pogačar goes, he has that explosive attack. You have to be in the wheel immediately, otherwise the close. Them down is a difficult one, and yeah, it looks like that we're going to see the same situation as we've seen from Pogačar, these real, you know, very aggressive attacks. And when will that be? That is the question.
Sivakov still riding. He has taken 25 seconds out of the gap in a kilometre. Carapaz has reached the front again. He continues to fight the man from Carchi. Out the back goes Guillaume. Another of those yo-yo days. This time the yo-yo staying low. It's going to be time lost today, and quite a bit for Guillaume Martin. This is Julien Bernard, who was in the breakaway alongside Martin in the end. 34 seconds. Just as I talked about Vingegaard then, Roglic also moved up. Evenepoel is now sat on the wheel of Vingegaard. Behind Roglic, you can see Carlos Rodriguez. Lars de Plus and Egan Bernal still there. Jorgensen sits behind Evenepoel. Pat on the backside there from Evenepoel to Landa. And Landa, with that pat on the back, starts to move up himself. It's fast, but it's cagey at the same time. There's a lot of nerves waiting for the moment when.
Well, if you're a rider in the GC standings, you have to just follow this train being set for the moment, because I think there's a lot of riders just happy with this and want to get further into the stage and get over this climb certainly, and see is there an opportunity, if there's a bit of rivalry between the bigger favourites, for the guys that bit further down the GC, try and take advantage of it. But for the moment, it's just very simple. Follow as UAE continue on to make this pace, and you know, more riders there will take that road up. Just follow the wheels that you need to follow, and just play that waiting game.
Sivakov, sensational today, continuing to ride. He's done it on all terrain. He was there on the flat at the start. He's been on the climbs, pushing on the descents, and uphill here where he goes best, he's doing damage. Tish Benoot is still there alongside Jonas Vingegaard. Behind two more teammates for Vingegaard, including Matteo Jorgensen. This is Carapaz. Lascano at his wheel. Healy waits as well. 31 seconds of a lead. 3Ks to the top. That means now we're into that 5.5% average. That lasts for a kilometre. Then it goes up to 9.2%. Final K before the top at 14%. They're into the red already. It goes into the black near the top. They can see them up the road just about. Reminder, it's a first category climb this. King of the Mountains competition sees 10 points for first to go over. But if it's cooking up like we think it is for UAE Emirates, it's a question as to whether any of these three gets there. Sivakov still rides. Out the saddle he goes. How much is left to give? There's a 2 on the beat on there for the number 13, Juan Ayuso. Will it be his turn next? Then you see Almeida. Adam Yates sits in front of Tadej Pogačar. The group's been thinned out, but nobody else losing contact for the minute. Time coming back, 27 seconds. Buitrago remains. And Sean, answering your question from before, there is no Pello Bilbao.
No, I could not find him there quite a number of kilometres earlier, and he's not there. And yeah, we did see him earlier on the day. He is the one who was showing signs of, not on his best, and certainly when you're not good in the earlier part of the stage, sometimes you can rally around and the recover, but normally it's always going to be difficult. And over this sort of terrain, the day they've been through, it's not going to happen for Bilbao.
Yet again, Sivakov can dig deep and find the strength to get out the saddle and accelerate. Once more, it's strung out even more. Louis Meinke's hanging on the back now. There we go. Sivakov's done. It's Juan Ayuso time, and he's got to go to work. On to the steeper gradients we go. Carapaz has emptied the tank. That's him cracked. He's gone. Now up to 9%. Buitrago, the only survivor behind for Bahrain. We're telling you early on, weren't we, that not everybody
Wow.
travelled to
Well,
the
we were
start
definitely
again
getting
today. A few riders with masks in the camp.
a little efficient.
Bilbao,
That
seemingly
was,
one of
what,
those
30 minutes
suffering.
with 3 shirts
Just
on.
had confirmation we can't see him.
Good heart rate.
So 9% average for the next
Pretty good.
15 seconds here, and the adventure is almost at an end.
Give a like, subscribe if you
And
guys
this is
want to
moving on
continue to
very
see
quickly.
more,
Look at
because
that. We're down to Yates now.
we're going to keep pushing.
Well, what happened
And we
there?
might do some Marvel Rivals in
This,
a little
though, is
bit. Gotta eat
London.
first.
One important man less for Remco Evenepoel, and just in the 10 seconds we were looking at the front, something quite dramatic's changed there. Almeida sitting on the wheel. Ayuso still sitting further behind.
Tomorrow we have Endurance 7. I should.
Seemed to be a short, sharp turn, Sean. So short we didn't really see it.
No, it was a short one, but again, sometimes they decide, okay, if a rider's not maybe feeling at his best, the
Oh,
rider
these
should
are
be giving
all
later.
messed up.
Maybe they decide, okay, I'll do it on this one, and you knock it back a bit and wait for a bit later on.
So we
it
got
can
2
between
weeks
the riders, and when you're all together there
between
at the front in full
endurances.
bubble, well,
We
then
did.
you can
I
do
did.
it. We can see
Endurance
Ayuso here.
8s.
He's starting to slip back off of this group here. Doesn't look comfortable at the moment, and yeah, that's an interesting one.
Busy, busy all the way till May.
But whatever short damage
The
he
beginning
did
of May.
was quite substantial, because Hindley's out the back as well. And the gap's now just 10 seconds with Adam Yates closing
Gotta keep
in.
pushing.
In fact, it's less than 10 seconds. They're almost on them. And before we get to the steepest gradients close to the top,
All right, I'll
this
see you
now
guys in a little bit.
is
I'm gonna
where
get
it's all
some
gonna
food
happen.
in me.
Hindley confirmation he's out the back.
Thanks for
The
watching.
note is going with him, hanging on just
Check it
about
out for
his
tomorrow.
Yankees.
We got a ride.
So Roglic is isolated
Ride,
and all
ride,
alone
ride,
in that
ride,
front
ride.
group now. There is Meinke's. This is Steph Kras. Egan Bernal here losing contact. Same with Gal, Enric Mas, Juan Ayuso. There's going to be changes in the top 10 in the general classification here.